Back in 1965, I was in my second year of college in Philadelphia and starting summer work at a small laboratory at the University of Pennsylvania. Life was actually pretty successful, but something was missing. I was sure of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been using cannabis a few times a week. And my mother and sister had learned Transcendental Meditation, TM, and wanted me to learn. So when I saw a poster publicizing a TM talk at the University of Pennsylvania, it seemed natural for me to go. After all, I worked at the university, so it was convenient. Within a few days, I took the TM course and learned the TM technique. TM seemed unusual from the beginning. I had tried to meditate before on my own and got nowhere, but TM actually worked. It generated a quiet state where stresses could be processed effortlessly. Nothing flashy, but it did make me feel refreshed and stress-free after every session. One interesting experience happened with a college course I just couldn't stand. Very large-scale integration engineering. I found it incomprehensible. Couldn't even understand what P and N regions were. Still can't. So I didn't pay attention during lectures, and I didn't read the book. But now it was time for the take-home final exam. I decided the night before it was due, out of desperation, to try alternating finding the answer to each question in the book, then meditating for a few minutes using transcendental meditation, of course. Well, it was a miracle. Each 5 or so minutes of meditation cleared my mind and washed away my frustration and anxiety. I got through the exam, handed it in the next day, and amazingly got a C and passed the course. I approached TM as an experiment, one I was skeptical would continue. And at first, I wasn't sure I was doing it correctly. They offered free meditation checking, so I used to go every day, at first, to the TM Center, which was also at the University of Pennsylvania, and go through this helpful process with one teacher or another at the center. Each time, my experiences improved. A few weeks later, it became stable and effortless. My experiences haven't really changed much from then. It still works every time I sit to meditate for a few minutes twice a day. But TM wasn't perfect. The Beatles and interviews on TV gave TM good publicity, but they made some unfortunate choices that destroyed that good publicity. They made it more expensive. It was $3,000 at its peak. And they emphasized all kinds of advanced programs, focusing on the people who were already practicing TM instead of on society as a whole. By 2006, there were few people coming to learn TM anymore. I felt moved to offer a low-cost deep meditation course directly to the public through a do-it-yourself course, combined with several forms of support called NSR, or Natural Stress Relief. NSR is not what most people think is meditation. It is not a focus on breathing or anything else like that. It is an effortless way to dive inside one's own awareness to quickly reach a fourth state of consciousness, marked by deep rest without losing consciousness, like a combination of waking and sleeping at the same time. It is hard to imagine what that could be like if you haven't learned it. The actual experience during transcending is very much like diving into a swimming pool from the side. All you have to do is take the correct direction, then your body arches and dives easily into the water. In NSR, we use a particular meaningless sound called a mantra. We start with thinking it in a concrete way, but our style of thinking becomes more abstract as joy begins to arise. We take this dive within many times during a single meditation session, dissolving stress as we go, so that at the end of the meditation time, we feel completely refreshed, able to return to our normal life and the waking state with more energy, more peace, and more happiness. In my 55 years of practicing transcending twice a day, the hardest period of my life was the time I was barely functional due to depression. This was a time when I felt sad and lonely and in constant conflict over wanting to do more, but finding myself out of energy and doing much less. I received a mental health diagnosis of dysthymia and had to get on Social Security disability insurance due to being unable to work. Meditation was always there to give me spots of relief each day, but it took several years even for meditation to reverse this imbalance of neurotransmitters in the brain, during which time I felt like I was barely surviving. Finally, after some initial remarkable signs of improvement, my depression spontaneously and completely lifted over about 2 weeks. At the end of that time, I once again felt the energy to live, and my psychiatrist, who was impressed, said I didn't need further visits. Soon after that, I was able to move from Massachusetts to Maine, adopt a ketogenic diet to control my diabetes without drugs, and to meet my childhood friend who became my wife 3 years later. In thinking back, I realized that I have remaining stresses, even though the full-scale depression is gone. I have no idea if they too will disappear. But at 80 years old, I am satisfied with my life and looking forward to realizing my plans to make genuine transcending available by everyone through their cell phone. Meditation, whether TM or NSR, can't do everything for everybody. Some of my clients have reached freedom from anxiety or other psychological problems. Some have reversed burnouts in their careers or home life. Others simply continue having a naturally better life as time goes by. I would love it if I got along with everyone perfectly and my meditation teaching become successful on a large scale, even though its price is so low. But I feel no lack right where I am. I've helped 3,400 clients learn NSR and given personal support to maybe a few hundred. The most common mistake I've seen clients make is thinking they don't have to follow the simple instructions, particularly the instruction to seek support when they are not getting the promised results of peace and happiness. Some stop meditating as a result of not practicing correctly for a year or two, then eventually contact me when they can't find peace or happiness in their life. Nobody has ever taken the NSR course, then told me they were bad at it, for the simple reason that the instructions are all simple and easy to do. My clients don't learn from meditation tips. They learn from their own experience of deep meditation. Experience is the best teacher, not learning from a book. But I do have clients who have problems, such as intrusive thoughts or discomfort. Those clients who talk to me in voice consultations have such problems fixed quickly. After my 55 years of meditation, things don't bother me much anymore. Recently, I left a note for my letter carrier in which I asked if his mail pickup could please be more regular. He responded with declaring my mailbox vacant, meaning there would be no more mail delivery. This was his way of showing his anger about my complaint. Instead of getting upset and worrying about how we were going to get our mail, which was my wife's natural response, I simply accepted the situation. I took reasonable action, which was to file a problem report with the U.S. Post Office. In a few days, the problem was solved. The letter carrier visited me and told me not to complain anymore and that my mail would be delivered again, which it has. I related to him on a human level, not further irritating him by trying to prove I was right or he was wrong. This diffused his anger and allowed the situation to end well. 50 years ago, I thought the mind was central to human life. Now I realize that making the mind the center of life is a mistake. Peace and happiness can only come naturally from within when we are not carrying around our thousands of stresses and childhood traumas. If I could go back to my 1970 self and give him one piece of advice, it would be this. David, going to this TM lecture is the best thing you will ever do. You don't need any further advice from me. If you're interested in NSR meditation, you can get further information or order the course by clicking the link. Thank you for watching.